Hi, my name is Brenda Torres. Today we'll be discussing, comparing and contrasting ancient Greek versus ancient Rome dog statues and how each of the civilizations perceived the beloved canine. Let's get started. First up, we'll be discussing ancient Greece. Greeks adored their loyal canines. They used them mostly for hunting, herding, or simply as a lapdog. Most of the well-known such popular dog breeds at the time were the Molossian, which are modern descendants of Mastiffs and Pit Bulls, the Laconin, and the Little Maltese. Greeks didn't name their dogs. However, it is noted that they didn't give them human names. Instead, they went for names like Spirit, Raider, or Barker, for example. Dogs were also buried alongside their human companions in cemeteries. One popular mention of dogs in ancient Greek literature is the Odyssey. As the story goes, after Odysseus arrives back home 20 years later and is disguised as a beggar, his old and frail dog Argos recognizes him and weakly wags his tail. Odysseus then leaves him and Argos shortly after dies. This showcases the strong companionship and loyalty dogs had for their owners at this time. Fun fact, cats were mostly absent from any Greek record until the Hellenistic period, which was from 323 to 31 BC, while table/lapdogs appeared around the Homer period, which was around 8th century BC. So, take that, cats. Now, let's take a look at one of our first statues, which is called the Jennings Dog, which was made in the 2nd century AD. It is a marble statue and is 1.05 meters tall. It's currently located in the British Museum. Now, this is a marble copy of a Hellenistic bronze statue. The Hellenistic period occurred after the famous classical period, which was known for their heavy focus on correct anatomy, hyperrealism, and correct proportions and natural-looking statues, as you can see in the Jennings Dog, with its very toned muscles in its chest and arms, and the very realistic looking fur on his neck. He is sitting in a very natural position and is very reminiscent of the classical period. Now our next statue is called the statue of a hunting dog, which was made in 520 BC. It is a marble statue and it is 1.305 meters in length and is currently located in the Archaic Acropolis Museum. Now, this dog has a very long snout and he's very lean, as you can tell from his protruding ribs and very toned muscles/shoulder blades. His bent legs, flexed muscles, and sucked in belly suggest he is in a hunting stance and is ready to charge at his prey, hence why it is called Statue of Hunting Dog. Compared to the previous statue, this one doesn't have that severe realism style. That's because this statue was made in the Archaic period, way before the classical period where they started developing that classical style. This is the time when artists started focusing on those realistic portrayals and proportions, hence why you can see the development of toned muscles and details and smaller details. This time was also the development of larger marble statues instead of little statuettes. On to our next civilization, ancient Rome. Well, it is very similar compared to our previous civilization. The popular dog breeds at the time are also the Laconian, Molossian, and Maltese, but also the Indian and Britannia. These dogs were bred and trained to be hunters, shepherds, watchdogs, lapdogs, and unlike the Greeks, war dogs. And they usually had armor and wore spike collars to protect themselves from getting injured. Also, it is also noted that lapdogs were considered a symbol of status and luxury during this time. What also helped the appreciation of canines was the legend of Romulus and Remus, aka the legend of how Rome came to be. The story goes was that Romulus and Remus were abandoned as babies and left to die. However, this female wolf nurtured them and let them drink milk from her and helped raise them, which in turn let them live. Fun fact, dogs were so loved at this time that the poet Juvenal, who lived around 55 to 128 CE, stated that he felt wives would rather see husbands killed than their beloved dogs, which I completely agree with. Also, the Britannia breed were very praised as very good hunters, that they were even considered an important import. Now let's take a look at this statue. The Statuette of a Molossian Hound, which was made in 2nd or 3rd AD. It is a bronze statue, and it is 1 3/4 inches in length, 6 3/8 inches in width, and 3 inches in height, and is currently located in the Archaic Acropolis Museum. This hound appears to be laying down with his limbs and tails tucked closely together with an upward gaze. It has wavy grooves in it which appear to be mimicking fur. This statue was made around the late Empire, where there was a rise in Christianity, which also sparked a shift away from the classical style, which was a focus in hyperrealism. Our next statue, the Statuette of a Dog, was made in the 1st and 2nd century AD. It is also a bronze statue. It is 10.5 centimeters in length and 11.1 centimeters in width. It is currently located in the Getty Museum. This statue has a large head and a tiny frame. It is sitting with his head turned to his right, slightly upward. His ears appear to have a very stylistic choice. To me, they look like little leaves. And it has no eyes, and once again, it has very wavy grooves / textures on its body, mimicking fur. This statue was made between the early and late Empire, where Augustus ruled. Then the Trajan came to power, and finally Constantine conquered and converted the empire to Christianity. Now let's compare and contrast. We'll start off with the statues both depicting Molossian hounds. Now compare the Greeks. It is more anatomy focused. It has more details, displaying the tones and muscles, and is more smoother compared to the Roman statue, which has wavy grooves and textures on the body to mimic fur. The Romans has more of a simple, blocky silhouette compared to the Greeks' hyper-realistic form. And the Greek has the dog in a more gazed away from the viewer, while the Romans appears to have the gaze more towards the viewers. Our next pair has more of a striking difference. The Greeks, once again, is more focused on the anatomy and is more smoother compared to the Romans, once again, because of the wavy grooves that it has to mimic furs. The Romans is more stylized, as you can tell, with, once again, I say, the ears looking like leaves, while the Greeks is more anatomically correct. The Greeks has more of a natural looking pose, while the Roman dog has a more awkward stance. The Greeks has more of a intense, more serious tone, while the Roman dog just looks like a little cheerful little pup. And once again, the Greeks looks like the statue is gazed away from the viewers, while the Roman dog statue appears to gaze towards the viewers. Greeks and Romans had a dear fond towards canines and held high admiration to them, as well as do we, modern humans, hold to our precious fur babies. Their depictions of their pets were nothing short of remarkable and beautiful. It was interesting to see how trends and styles of those times, whose usual muses were humans, translated onto other depictions of beings, aka their beloved animals. Thank you.